Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
A reminder that our title sponsor is Able Auctions as we bring in for the final time on this go-round of Donnie and Dolly as we're off for summer vacation after Friday from Hockey Night in Canada and the 32 Thoughts podcast, our friend Elliotte Friedman. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I see, Dolly, you're already in Hawaii by the shirt you're wearing.
Hey, this is Hawaii week. I was a big Hawaii 5-0. What's the Tom Selleck one? Magnum PI.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love Magnum PI. That was a great show.
Tom Selleck was the best.
And they rebooted it, too, didn't they? Or they rebooted Hawaii 5-0.
Hawaii 5-0, there was a new one.
Yeah. You probably don't remember Jack Lord, but I do. Star of the original Hawaii 5-0 and a tremendous theme song.
Yes, it was.
That thing came on in public skating, man. I was a rocket. All right, Elliotte, enough of that. Speaking of skating, NHL, hockey, you are the insider of insiders. Did you or anybody have any idea Johnny Gaudreau to Columbus?
So yesterday afternoon, I got a couple texts from someone saying, check Columbus. And, you know what happens is you start – One of the things that can be a tell, it's not always a tell because sometimes people are busy, but one of the things that can be a tell is when people who normally respond to you when you say, okay, I hear Johnny Gaudreau is going to Philadelphia. Like people will say, yes, no, don't do that. You'll get some kind of response. When I started asking some people about Columbus, it went dry. And when it goes dry like that, one of two things is going on. You have to be careful. Either they're really busy or somewhere where they can't respond to you, or they just don't want to answer your question. And so I'm sitting there. I'm not getting any responses on Columbus, but I confess I didn't have – like I wasn't sure. Like, you know, because as you guys know, if you throw that out there in the middle of the day and it doesn't even come close to happening, you look like a total idiot. So, you know, I just sat there and I was on NHL Network at, I think, 1:25 your time. And I said, I heard they had contact with Columbus. And not long after that, it started to kind of go. And there were some rumors about Columbus making a big pitch. But I didn't, and I thought they were in it. But I didn't know it was going to be them till literally about 10 seconds before I tweeted. I was on it. I was pretty sure it was them for about 10 minutes before I tweeted, and it's a long 10 minutes, but I didn't know until about 10 seconds before I tweeted it.
There was a quote from him yesterday in The Athletic, and I'm paraphrasing here, Elliotte. It sounded like the reason he went to Columbus versus Calgary, New Jersey, the Islanders, Philadelphia, is he thought it was kind of a cool place. That whenever he played there, he was blown away by the atmosphere, like the city. Do you have any theories as to why? I mean, I know what he said, but do you have any theories as to why Columbus over those other teams?
Well, first of all, I don't think Philly was ever in it.
Okay.
I'm not convinced the Islanders were really in it. I think at the end of the day, it was three teams. I think it was Calgary, Columbus, and Jersey. I think it was those three teams, and I do think he wanted to move closer to his family. I think that's true. I think they wanted, especially now he's about to start a bigger family of his own. I think that's a factor. Like, you know, Calgary made the biggest offer. You know, it was 8 times 10.5. He left a lot of money on the table. I just think he decided at the end of the day he was going somewhere east. And I don't understand these arguments about, oh, he's still 500 kilometers away. I mean, it's a lot closer. I think his number one choice in the U.S. was Philly. I don't think Philly ever materialized. And once I think Columbus became available, it was Columbus and New Jersey. And, you know, I heard he called Eric Goodbranson, who you guys know well, it was going to Columbus. He heard that Goodbranson was going to Columbus earlier in the day, I was told, and he reached out to him. I think he also reached out to Eric Robinson, who he mentioned, Cam Atkinson is another guy who he knows, who used to play in Columbus, and he called him, and I think his interest in that grew. Now, let's be honest about something here. I don't like it when people say it's not about the money, because it is about the money at some level. He did leave a lot of money on the table, but of the teams that were left standing, Columbus made him the best offer, and the intel and research he got told him he'd be very happy to play there. So I think that's what it came down to.
Elliotte, can you tell us about the newest Vancouver Canuck? Because you've been watching them for a few years in Toronto. Ilya Mikheyev, what do the Canucks get?
Well, I think Mikheyev is a really good player. I'm a big Mikheyev fan. He will create chaos all over the ice. He is fast. He creates scoring chances. He's defensively responsible. He's a really smart player. The difference in him is whether or not he has finish. And like, there were years, like, he must have, like, it used to be the guy who led the league in breakaways that he never scored on was what was his name? Grabner. Grabner was always the guy who led the league in breakaways he never scored on. When Grabner retired, Mikheyev took over that. He would be the guy who would lead the breakaways he never scored on. But last year, he started finishing more of those, and his numbers went up. He's going to help you, and you will always notice him. He's defensively responsible, like I said, but he creates offensive chaos on the ice. He creates scoring chances.
You know what's chaos, Elliotte, in Vancouver is the JT Miller situation. Where do we go from here? What do you see happening this summer? Could he be at training camp? What's going to happen there?
I think everybody would like this to be settled. I really do. I think it's been I know, Rick, when I get these questions now, I'm like, again, and I'm sure Rutherford's like that. I'm sure the Canucks are like that. I'm sure Miller and his camp are like that. I think everybody here would like this to be settled just so we could move on. But there's a certain way it's got to go. I think, I think it's a situation where money's tight. Like we said, I think at the end there were 3 teams for Gaudreau. There's not a lot of money right now, and plus the Canucks want to return. So I think all these teams took their shots in free agency. Now some teams are going to see if they can move money. I could be totally wrong. I always worry I'll say this and then the trade will happen 2 seconds later and I'll look like an idiot. But I'd heard in the last few days that there wasn't a ton going on there.
Yeah, I agree. The Penguins have 9 defensemen. Ron Hextall said yesterday, Elliotte, that he's not. There won't be 9 at training camp. Is there a possible fit with Vancouver? You're hearing Garland's name a lot. The agents are reaching out and trying to figure out what's going on. Your thoughts on a possible Vancouver-Pittsburgh hookup there? Well,
I mean, look, like, what are we calling Vancouver now? The Pittsburgh Highway? They know those guys.
Yep.
Aside from the Penguins, nobody knows them better than the Canucks do. I do think they've talked to Pittsburgh about Marino. I think Pittsburgh's talked with Marino about a lot of teams. I think there was one deal that they were kind of working on close last week that didn't happen. I heard they had something that fell through, and with Marino, and I don't think it was with Vancouver. By the way, I asked specifically Vancouver, and I was told it wasn't them. So. I think we'll see where that goes, but it could be Marino, it could be Pettersson. I don't think they want it to be Dumoulin, but they're going to have to move 1 or 2 of those guys, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Hey, Elliotte, 2 teams that impressed a lot of people over the last several days. That it's been a long time since they impressed people. Ottawa and Detroit. Between those 2 teams, which off-season moves have impressed you the most, or maybe it's a tie?
I would say Ottawa. To be honest, guys, I think the team that had the best day yesterday was Carolina. They could win the Stanley Cup next year. They're going to score a ton of goals. Mm-hmm. I'd like it if their goaltending was a bit stronger, but I think I think they really did some great things. But of those 2 teams, I would pick Ottawa. I think that franchise needed a fresh coat of paint and some fresh air. And they got it, and I still think they're looking for a defenseman. So we'll see where we go from here.
What makes the Leafs believe in Matt Murray?
I think it's both. I think it's Murray and Samsonov. The reason that they believe in Murray is they know him. Dubas knows him. Keefe knows him. John Elkin, who runs their goaltending department, has skated with him for about 100,000 years. There's nobody who questions Murray's ability, but they question his ability to stay healthy, which is a big deal. Samsonov's a really interesting one. He made a good bet on himself. I mean, he's got all the talent in the world, but the Capitals ran out of patience with him. And I will say both of those guys has the talent to be a number one goalie and a really good one, but you're betting on two guys who haven't put it together lately for different reasons. One because of injury and one because of inconsistency. I've been saying this yesterday, Don. Like, I grow up here. I have a lot of friends who are Leaf fans. They're either really excited or really terrified. There's no in between.
Boy, Canuck fans can't relate to that, Elliotte. Thanks for that. Hey, what's on tap for the summer? What's Elliotte Friedman doing? Probably still working throughout the summer.
I'm really going to try. Like I'm not like a nurse or a health practitioner or anything. But the last 2 years, it seemed like never ending. So I'm really going to try to unplug a bit. We're going to rent a cottage and just relax. Today is my last day of radio, and we're doing our last podcast tonight for tomorrow. So once I get this done, I hope to be a little bit hidden.
Don't answer Dollywall's calls.
Hey, Elliotte always answers my text 24/7.
Or texts.
Yeah, no.
Well, because you know what, I'm hoping that he's already into the Crown, so they get even more entertaining when that happens.
Last night, 10 o'clock, Elliotte and I talked. That was 1 o'clock.
Last night, 10 o'clock, you were into the Crown.
Just never mind. Listen, 10 o'clock. It was 1 in the morning in Toronto. Elliotte and I talk late into the evening.
Well, that ends for the next 7 or 8 weeks.
No.
Okay?
I'm going to call him.
Elliotte, we can't thank you enough. You know how much you mean to our show. Thanks so much, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Have a great summer.
I'm really happy to do it, and thank you for donating the money to the great charities that the Canucks have. Like
Canucks for Kids Fund.
Look, whatever they do on the ice, that's a superstar organization off the ice. I'm happy to contribute to that.
All the best, Elliotte. Thank you.
All right, take care, guys. Have a great summer.